Thank y'all so much for tuning in to episode 14 of ArkanSanity. This is going to be amazing. There's so much good stuff going on in this episode. If you like the last episode, or even if this is your first episode, you ain't even seen this show yet, hit the like, share it, comment, and subscribe, okay? Because I promise you're going to like it, okay? That's a guarantee. Thank y'all so much for joining. I'm going to give y'all some updates on the farm, okay? First and foremost, had a calf death. Her name is Lilac. I call her Lila, but anyway, she passed away, and that was the second calf that's passed away. So we're going to get into that in just a little bit more. We have a third calf actually struggling. He's over here in the corner of the garage. I filmed the podcast in the garage. His name is Asher. There he is. You know, I've slept with him one night, and he stayed the other night at the vet. He's about to be. This is his third night. He'd be 3 days old. Um, you know, basically what was wrong with him. I'll just go ahead and tell you. I just straight up tell you what was wrong. He was, when I found him, he was extremely cold, shaking. I mean, shaking like a leaf, just violently shaking. So we got blankets on him and gave him some milk. And he took the first bottle really good, and he stood up. And I'm sure you can hear my wife yelling in the background at Tucker. That's all right. Just disregard that. All right. Kind of adds entertainment value, to be honest. She's yelling at the dog now. Anyways, um, so this calf, he's real cold. Stands up and starts drinking this milk and feels real strong. I come back an hour and a half later and he's about dead. He's curled up and he's shaking way worse. But when oh dang, Tucker just got in trouble. She threw his bike out the door. Oh, anyways, he gets his milk and he starts standing up, going towards his mom. And that's when I think, hey, I got to go reload this bottle. I'll come back in about an hour and a half. And by then, you know, he'll be on his mom a little bit better. But this is the first time where I've seen one that was walking around and seemed strong and warm. He had stopped shaking by the time we had left. When I came back, he was doing worse, much worse. And immediately separated the cows from him. I did the old switcheroo on them, acted like we had a bucket of treats. Luckily, my buddy Matt was with me. He acted like he had a bucket of treats and lured the cows away. We closed them off into the separate pen that the calf was in. I scooped the calf up, put it in the back of the car, took it back to the shop. And my problem was I couldn't get the bottle to work. That bottle that's there on the left. Thanks for pulling up that picture, Ghost Man, because that bottle there, with a calf that won't drink, I'm just telling y'all guys, that bottle won't do nothing. So I was pouring a little bit of the fluid down its throat. Then I started using a turkey baster. The turkey baster did work great, but I'll tell you what you need. And I went and got one. I didn't know this, but look, this is what you need. This tube goes down their throat all the way, and I've heard slide it down the left side of their throat. So that's what I did. I put it down, all the way down the throat. And the reason you do that tube is because it bypasses the lungs, and the milk can't go in the lungs. It goes through the tube, past the lungs, straight into the stomach. And so that's why I really like this tube. I think maybe a little bit of fluid got in this calf's lungs. His name is Asher, but I don't think much. He doesn't sound like he's gurgling when he's breathing. He sounds like he's very labored breathing, and it's 3 days now of breathing just like kind of faintly. He does not sound great, but he also is doing better. And I'm not giving up on him. I've anointed his head with oil, did that cross on him, and prayed in Jesus' name over him. I believe he's going to make it. I believe he's just like, and he's had a bunch of diarrhea. I've been taking I'll take a mason jar of warm water and dish soap and mix it up. And where he does a diarrhea, I'll drag him about a foot away from it and then pour real hot water and dish soap on it, kind of wash that diarrhea out, and it absorbs into the ground. Because the great news is I've got an Asher over on the garage floor, which is a gravel floor. So all of that dirty water just goes into the gravel. Whereas if I had a concrete slab, it'd be really hard to get rid of that diarrhea. I'd have to scrape up every bit of it. But since I'm on the gravel, when he does a diarrhea, I'll drag him away. I'll wash it into the ground and make sure that last spot dries. And I've just been working him in a circle for today. And he's had a couple He's been going potty, and that's great. That's really great. I think he's had a lot of milk and a lot of colostrum, electrolytes, and I even put one raw egg in there, and I think the raw egg will be great for some protein. But I'm feeding him with that tube now. Later tonight, he gets another, the rest of what was in that bottle that I just showed y'all, and we'll just be praying, and y'all pray for him too. And there's that one picture of us sleeping together too, Ghost. Man, that was my favorite one. Oh yeah, that one. I don't know if you showed it yet or not. That was my favorite picture because our backs were keeping each other warm. We just kind of snuggle up on each other. Man, he's cute. I give him kisses before he goes to bed. Right on his cheeks. He's got nice little soft furry ears. I pet on his ears and stuff. Oh, I also give him foot massages because he needs his foot massage, front foot and back foot, because especially like when you're doing that, um, get up here with your I use my thumb and I get right up in here, or what would be the equivalent of like the palm on the human, the wrist and the palm. And when I do that, I'm trying to prevent that knuckling, is what they call it, when they can't stand upright. They're standing, instead of standing like this, their legs aren't extending and strong enough to hold. So to give a little bit of that muscle strength, relax the muscles, I'm just giving him massages, massage his neck, his back, both, all four legs. And he is happy. I know that he's gonna make it. I truly do believe it. But right now his stomach is full of milk. He just needs to chill out right now and let that milk pass. Um, from now on, okay, because I've had some problems with these calves this winter. This was an exceptionally cold winter, and I've never had problems with the calves before. I'm on a pellet and corn nutrient mix with fresh hay and what I call old hay, which is more for bedding, but they do actually eat through the old hay, believe it or not. So, and I also have salt, three types of blocks: the salt, sulfur, and mineral blocks, which I call them red, yellow, white. Okay, so I got the red, yellow, white. Keep them out every day, all day, full access. Then you got fresh hay, old hay, pellets, and corn. And so that's what I'm already supplementing. It's very expensive stuff, but I'm happy to do it, because I want to see these cows live. Well, guess what? I'm adding a little bit more. I'm adding what I call brownie batter to make this a little bit better. And that brownie batter comes in blue tubs. They love it so much they'll gorge themselves on it. I actually had a cow die eating it one time because put that brownie batter. I put that brownie batter out, and she ate so much that she got bloat and it swelled up her stomach and she died. And so you got to be careful. But she was already compromised. She was a really bad cow that I got from a neighbor. I felt he was starving the cow to death. I felt bad. I was trying to rehabilitate her. But anyways, that was a different story. Um, this brownie batter is going to help. I've got one more mom due. Her name is Emma. And within the next month, Emma will be laying. And I want this brownie batter to be in her system. So tomorrow, me and Mr. Tommy are getting brownie batter, pellets, and corn, most likely. A good try mix there. Probably put out a fresh bale of hay tomorrow too. They have great clean water, so that's not the issue at all. Now, I'll tell you what the biggest issue is. I believe I do need a barn, and I will have a barn built next year. This winter, this cold, they survived it, but it was so hard on their bodies that little bit of fat for energy was burned that would have been transferred to the calf, to the baby, the newborn. And so all of these calves that I've had that have had these issues, they are born flawless. I mean, it's not any deformities. There's no problems with the calf coming out. They're born and then they are lacking this immediate nutrients. And so what I'm going to do is build a barn for the moms to stay warm all winter. They can literally they don't have to leave. I'll go in there and clean the barn every single day, and that's how it's supposed to work. But generally in Arkansas, I've never had a problem with the cold. The calves have always come out healthy, but this winter, obviously, it makes me want to implement changes. And that's Meatball, the calf that lived. And Meatball's very, very healthy. Meatball was born right when Lilac was born. Meatball just comes out the womb basically doing gymnastics, like he's super healthy. His mom was also the smallest cow, Kelly. So the small cows, they eat less grass and they have extremely easy births. They have a lot of benefits. Each cow is very particular in how they give birth. You know, you got to know, like Lisa, that's my biggest cow. She's going to have hard birth. She's had twins, and the twins came out okay. There was some struggle, but everything was good. And then she had the calf that died about 2 weeks ago. You know, so Lisa, I have to keep an eye on her when she's pregnant because she gives big calves or twins, and there's going to be more likely complications. Coco, delivers great calves, perfectly healthy, amazing, beautiful calves, but she does not nurse and milk very well, you know. So I have to keep an eye on her. Now this calf, Asher, the one in critical condition right now, he is the son of Red, and I call her Red because she's mainly red. She got like a couple white spots, but what's funny is he's all white, you know, with the red head. But Red, she was a heifer. Now she's a cow. That's her first calf ever, and so now we know she's gonna deliver huge calves, and they're most likely could have some problems, you know. But you look at Red, and there's no deficiencies in Red. She is so beautiful. She's right there diagonally behind me in that picture. Thank you, Ghost Man. But look at Red. She looks beautiful. She is not skinny. My cows ain't starving. They're not, you know, they're not. There's nothing wrong with them. But it was a hard winter, and there is some improvements I can make. And man, it really upsets me to have this series of unfortunate deaths and illnesses. But I am going to improve, I promise, and I'm not going to be discouraged. I'm actually really pissed off and really want to build these barns and get this brownie batter put out tomorrow. Thank y'all for bearing with me on that because that's kind of like a general problem that I'm having. I'm going to be talking about that stuff more in the future. As I start building the barns, I'll show you more pictures and stuff. And I'll probably even show you me putting out that brownie batter next week because I'm excited about that. It comes in a blue tub. The stuff I like does. And one more thing I could think of is I need to rotate these cows of mine onto some better grass. They've been on this grass for 2 years now. It's 10 acres. I'm going to move them down on 26 here in about a month. And so basically for this next month, I will highly supplement them before I put them on that 26 of fresh grass. Okay, so that's the great news. We just got to keep everybody nice and healthy for one more month, and they're going to get a huge boost when they get rotated. You know, rotating cows properly solves 99.9% of all of this stuff, you know, because that fresh grass is the best thing ever. It's way better than any type of supplementation. And I think people know that, you know. Yeah, it's brutal out here, okay? It's not all sunshine and rainbows, okay? A lot of animals die. You have to bury them, or some people don't bury them. Some people leave them out in the woods and let the coyotes and vultures eat them, but I'd rather bury them. So I've buried 2 calves this year. I do have at least one more mom giving birth, I think 2. So there's a chance that I get 2 more calves this year. Oh yeah, another thing I've been doing a bunch is this logging. So a neighbor of mine, he wanted me to get rid of some cedars, and guess what? One man's trash is another man's treasure. And this is just God blessing me abundantly. Thank you so much, Lord, because yes, I get calves took away, but look how much God blesses me with. He says, have as much of these cedars as you want. There's about 50 cedars on my neighbor, and he says to me, hey, come and get them. Here's a short video of what we do, kind of how we harvest these cedars. You know, it's me swinging the axe here, and what I'm doing is taking off all the little limbs of the big tree. Mr. Tommy laid this tree down with a chainsaw. Then I come by with the axe, take the limbs off. Mr. Richard, he's there with the tractor and chains, and Matt hooks the chains up to the tractor, and Mr. Richard takes off, and then we put the logs onto a trailer, and I can drive them home. And the neighbor who wants these cedars gone, really, he's just happy to clear the trees out. And the reason being is the cedars were so thick they were actually choking a bunch of oaks he has. And he's a really smart man because the cedars are prime for harvesting, which he doesn't want to harvest them. He doesn't do construction, you know. He just wants them gone so that his oaks can breathe. You know, his oaks are crowded in there with all those cedars. So, you know, if I had to pick one tree to have in the yard, like a huge tree, it would be like a oak, a good white oak. That's my favorite. Okay, but everybody has their favorite tree. But I really love the oaks because they produce some acorns and bring so much life and they're nice and tall and strong. They take forever to grow. But if you already have a bunch of oaks and there's cedars growing next to them, you need to do exactly what my neighbor did. Just thin out the cedars, keep the oaks, let them grow and produce acorns, bring deer, squirrel, birds, and life into the yard, Um, Mr. Tommy almost died today, cutting these trees down. He fell about a dozen trees. Bob fell about a dozen. On the last one, a dead limb got caught and it snapped off and fell down on Mr. Tommy's head. But it was a pine limb and it was severely rotten. And thank God it was rotten enough to snap in half, because when it snapped in half on his head, a lot of that force was took away. His head didn't absorb the full weight of the branch. If it wouldn't have snapped, I think Mr. Tommy would be done for. His head was bleeding a little bit, but no stitches or nothing, and thank God we're okay. So be safe out there. I make jokes about how dangerous this stuff is, but y'all know I take safety serious, and we changed our policy. And Mr. Tommy, this was the smallest tree we cut down of the whole day, by the way, and Mr. Tommy cut it. And I know it's been a long day, and he was standing right there by the tree while it was falling over. And the new policy now is just immediately walk away, even if everything seems safe. It's hard to keep an eye on all these branches above you. So I told Mr. Tommy, always from now on, when you're cutting the tree down, when it begins to lean, just walk away. And also, we'll scout every single perimeter of the tree we're going to cut for dead limbs specifically. And I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I think that was a God giving me a warning sign, and He's always blessed me with great health so far. Thank you, God. Please continue to do that. I love my health, and well, first off, I'd rather something happen to me than Mr. Tommy. I know the log fell on Mr. Tommy, but I would 100 out of 100 times just have the log fall on my head, other than Mr. Tommy's. Promise. I don't want to live with any type of guilt like that. So this stuff ain't a joke, and we made it out another day. We're gonna log tomorrow. Ain't no quitters. So we're going to talk about tractors, fake news, the fake alien invasion, and hidden electricity at the North Pole. Okay, we're talking about all of that stuff today. Okay, later in the episode. First, I want to tell you about the gym. Hey, I've got great news. The gym in Fayetteville, Fighthouse Gym, it opened and it was a success. I'm telling you, everybody loved it. The training is going to be extremely great. It's going to be more than just MMA techniques, but you're going to learn that too. Okay, I'm going to be there a couple times a month. I would ideally like to be there 3 to 4 times a month. Now, when I have a fight coming up, I'm going to be up there pretty frequent. I'm going to be up there enough to implement a regiment and actually train people and make sure that they are learning from a certain criteria. If you don't know what this MMA stuff is all about, come check it out. I'm telling you, I think you will love it. And like I said, it's not just about the technique. It's about the spirit being sharpened, and a lot of people fall in love with it. I certainly did when I first started. If you don't do MMA, that's all right. You can always come in and watch just for fun, because let me tell you what else we got. It's 12,000 square foot. It's boxing, BJJ. It's got a sauna, the heavy bags, weightlifting area, treadmills, the red light, cold plunge. It's got all sorts of recovery options there for athletes. And more than anything, we'd just love to see you there. I mean, we love people, and we want to meet, and we want to provide a great facility for you to relax and work out in. There's a QR code on the screen right now. You can scan that, go to fighthousegym.com, check it out. We'd love to have you at Fighthouse Gym in Fayetteville, Arkansas. All right, guys, we got some more fake news coming in hot. What do we got this week? Isn't it crazy how nobody in Congress can balance a budget, but they've all managed to somehow become multimillionaires? I couldn't have thought of a better face for that there meme as Nancy Pelosi. Dutch court requires Bill Gates and Pfizer CEO to appear in COVID vaccine injury lawsuit. I guarantee you he's going to skip court. He ain't going to show up to Dutch or Netherlands or, wherever that is in Europe. I know it's somewhere over there, Scandinavia. Okay. I don't know exactly where the Dutchmen are on the map. Okay. I'm not trying to offend y'all. And you know what? I want to thank the Dutch people for bringing that bastard into court. Reports have surfaced before the Winter Olympics that alleged ski jumpers are injecting their penises with hyaluronic acid to fly further. The World Anti-Doping Agency has vowed to investigate. I'm lost for words. I don't know what to say to that. You think they're injecting them with helium or something? They're wanting to fly further. They should ask me, man. Nearly a third of the children try to swipe books like smartphones when they start school. 25% of kids also struggle with basic life skills. Yeah, the kids on the phones, no. That's a no-go. That's a deal breaker, okay? Get them off the phones, get them off the tablets. I think Tucker might watch a little bit too much TV sometimes, but also we'll put Cars or Finding Nemo on, something like that, and it'll keep him distracted while we do our chores, you know? So minimize the kids on the screen, okay, in my opinion. The London police has banned a planned Walk with Jesus march in Whitechapel as it could create disorder from the local community, they say. Yeah, so there you have it's it's illegal for Christians to assimilate in Europe, or I'm sorry, not in Europe, in London. Okay. But a bunch of Muslims are over there and there's no problem with them celebrating their beliefs, you know. So that's the discrimination that Christians are receiving in these countries, and it's pretty obvious. Chris Pratt on AI. It's man-made, flawed, and will never replace God. Chris Pratt, you get a thumbs up. You pass Brysonomics with flying colors, brother. God bless you, Chris Pratt. The 1967 Oldsmobile Toronado might have been the greatest interior design ever built. Oh man, if y'all can't see by that picture what that is some leather seats that take a bend there in the corner. It's like a little wraparound couch there in the back of that car. That is slick looking. I wish they made cars that nice looking these days. All this plastic shit drives me crazy. Man ready to take on the world after sliding favorite pocket knife in a jeans pocket. Hey, that's me. Everywhere you go, you have you a pocket knife, all right? It'll just make you feel tougher. A student discovers that all the presidents are relatives except one. Well, that is hard to believe. I don't know what to believe on that because, I guess we're all cousins. That's all I got to say. But there is some type of bloodline going on. I do believe that. Some type of royal bloodline, Illuminati, whatever you call it. Something funky is going on with that. I just don't quite know what. Man, let me tell y'all what we got going on today. For Brysonomics, we're talking about tractors, okay? And I'm just going to shoot it to you straight. I'm going to tell you what I wish I would have known about tractors when I first started getting them, operating them, and maintaining them. And first thing, okay, you're going to be getting a tractor if you need one. Well, first thing is, do you need a tractor? And particularly, I needed one because putting out round bales for cows. It is so convenient to have a tractor with hay spikes in the front that you can put the hay out with in massive quantities, because putting it out by hand is actually harder. You got to put little bitty square bales out. You could just put one big, huge round bale out with the tractor. It's a lot faster that a ways. I really love it. Another thing I needed a tractor for is digging ditches for septic tanks. I've installed multiple septic tanks, and I've had a lot of successes with my septic tank installations. And that's thanks to my little Kubota B21. That was my first tractor ever. Was a Kubota 21 horsepower diesel with a backhoe on it. And I got the backhoe to dig ditches, and I lift. I have a loader on the front too, and the loader, it can move dirt, rocks, concrete. I do construction with it. I hold deer up with it, if I'm skinning a deer or a cow. But actually, if I'm skinning a cow, I'll use the Ford, which I'm going to tell you about that Ford. I call him Big Blue. He's a 6610 and 4-wheel drive. There he is. And I love Big Blue. It's a good running tractor. I believe the 6610s were made somewhere in the 70s to 80s, in that range. So that's important to know, because what I'm going to tell y'all is that when you're getting your first tractor, first off, what do you need? We're not getting what we want, okay? We're getting what we need, okay? And I needed a good four-wheel drive tractor because I live in the swamps to put hay out. And thanks for pulling that picture, Ghost Man. That was a perfect picture to show y'all what I do. I put out hay bales with old Big Blue here. And I'll tell you the pros and cons of Big Blue. But first, you got to realize if you need a tractor, what horsepower, okay, do you need? My first tractor, Kubota B21, 21 horsepower, and it digs little bitty ditches at a moderate pace, but it's great. If you're moving hay, you really need about 55 horsepower. That Big Blue, he's probably about 85 horsepower, maybe 90, probably 85, something like that. But that's perfect for round bales for what I do. I like that range, that 85 range. That's great. And Big Blue can also lift up some good sized timber, with those hay spikes on the front. I've broke a hay spike picking up a log. Okay, so be careful breaking your hay spikes using them for lumber. They're not for lumber; they're for hay. But anyways, that tractor, that about 85 horsepower tractor, it'll lift up a 3,000-pound log almost, a 2,000-pound log for sure, no problem. It'll pick up 2,000 pounds. So it'll pick up quite a big log, and that's what I need that particular tractor for, moving hay and logs. And if my littler tractors get stuck, it pulls it out. Big Blue does. It's got the 4-wheel drive. Um, what? And while we're talking about Big Blue here, see that's the 4,000. That's a Ford 4,000. And the thing about the Ford 4,000 is when I got it, it was a dud. Okay, I had to restore the motor totally. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot of what not to do, with this tractor. But this, uh, I already told Ghost Man, the 4,000, that's my favorite tractor to sit on and run. It truly is. It doesn't have the cab, so you can see all around you. You can breathe a little bit of that exhaust fumes as it's coming out, which is probably not good for you, but just a hint of it, I kind of like. Uh, Also too, you get that fresh air because the wind will be blowing on you while you don't have the cab surrounding you. And what I like to do with that Ford 4,000 is I've got a little bitty tiller on the back of it. I think it's a 5-foot tiller. Um, and it's orange, but I like tilling, and there's a picture of it. Thank you, Ghost Man. Um, you know, that's what I like to do. I like to run that tiller. And what I'll do, typically, what I'll till, like last year, the only thing I tilled was my garden. And what I did is I got manure from the sale barn, whole bunch of manure. I'm talking like a dozen truckloads, dump truckloads, Um, and then I got a whole bunch of mulch from the city. Searchy City gives out mulch for free because they really just want to do limb removal and kind of get the mulch out of their way. So they give it to the residents. And so I took the mulch and the manure and then some chicken, whatever you call it, just a bunch of dirty hay from the chicken pen. And then I mixed it all in there with the tiller. And so for several hours, that's where I mixed it in. That's actually before I tilled potentially, because after I tilled, it was a lot higher than that after I added all of that. But the reason I picked that spot to add to is because it was naturally low. I wanted to build it up and have the garden right there. I really like that spot for the garden. It's, right when you walk out our front door, it'd be right there to the left. You can see the driveway in the photo, but basically I'm mounding that area up with mulch, manure, hay, anything I can um, to make good soil. And I till it in with that Ford 4,000. I sit there and go in circles all day, and I love it. That's my favorite thing to do on a tractor. What's your favorite thing to do on a tractor? There's not much I don't like to do. Okay. I just love operating a tractor. I love the peace of mind that I get and the focus that I get and the feeling that I get with the equipment. It's like the equipment is alive. That tractor is alive with you. It's breathing just like you are. Okay, and actually, that's Big Blue's problem. Sometimes he's got some breathing problems. Sometimes I think some air's getting in the line on the fuel line on Big Blue. So Big Blue's been starting up great, but he's been getting some air in the line. We've been bleeding it out, and sometimes he'll just stall out. But usually, what happens when Big Blue's about to stall out, I'll stomp on the clutch, which that relieves the tension, the pressure on the motor, and then I'll throttle down and I'll just kind of let Big Blue idle and then I'll ease my foot off the clutch and see if he's ready to come back, wake back up. And if he is, I'll just throttle down just a little bit, just slowly get him back to work. But that's one little thing I've been having to do to Big Blue just to keep him running. There's all sorts of things that I know exactly how to do on Big Blue that if you just hopped on the first day, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't, the pull stick, the kill switch that you pull to turn the motor off, it sticks every time. So every time I have to push it back and make sure that it ain't stuck or the motor won't even start. You'll go to turn the key and be like, hey, why is it not starting? Every single time you got to pull the kill switch back. It sticks. So there's all these little things about Big Blue that I know. And I encourage you to have a tractor like that. Have a relationship with your tractor like that. And more than anything, I would say the older tractors are great because of the motors and the transmission systems. The reason being is because they are more simple, more practical, cheaper at the time, especially if, and a lot of these you still can find parts for. A lot of them you can. It's very hard, but when you find the parts, they're not super crazy expensive where you can't afford it. For example, that Ford 4000, my favorite tractor to run. When I got it, it was a total dud, okay? The motor had no compression there at the end. And when I got it, it had such little compression that you had to start it up with ether every single time. And the transmission fluid in it was milky white because it had a water leak. So I had all these problems, but I totally fixed this tractor up. It's totally restored, brand new motor. The transmission's doing great in it. We changed out all the fluid, and got rid of the leaks. Okay, so back to what I was saying about the motors on these old tractors, the transmissions on these old tractors. Let me get back to this before I just start rambling and completely lose my focus. Listen, the motors on the old school tractors are better. Let me tell you why, because they're mechanical. And I know that sounds like, well, it's not finely tuned like these electrical newer motors are, but I'm telling you, those mechanical systems, they're easy to work on, and you can totally replace them very easily too. And they have higher longevity, and they're more tolerant to things like dirty fuel. That's what I love. Honestly, that's the number one thing about a mechanical motor, like these old school Fords. Every single one of these Fords I have, every single one of them, they'll run off a diesel and old motor oil mix. They'll run off half oil, half fuel. They're very tolerant. You can put dirty fuel in there, and they'll run way better than a newer tractor would. Okay, so that's a huge advantage about older tractors is they are more mechanical and less electronic. Okay, when you're relying on electronics in your motor, yes, you can get more horsepower and all of that, and I understand that, but I'm not a mechanic. It's very hard for me and Mr. Tommy to work on that type of stuff. Whereas these old school motors that I have here at this small farm, they're perfect to work on. I've had all sorts of problems, and Mr. Tommy is able to fix everything. And we got another mechanic named Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul's who rebuilt the 4000 motor. That was a big project, so Mr. Paul did that. And it's just easier to find mechanics to I think to work on these types of motors. If you get a newer John Deere, the motor, you might have to take it to the dealership to fix it. There's so much electronic components, it's impossible for some numbnuts like me to work on it. Okay, so here I am to tell you, if you're a small farmer getting a tractor, first tractor, probably getting the 55 horsepower range. 55 horsepower. If you need to move a lot of stuff, which you probably will, like lumber and all that, get you like a Ford 4000, but get you loader arms on the front. Okay, I don't have loader arms on the front of this Ford 4000 because I've got another tractor with loader on the front. This is my tilling tractor, so I don't have the arms on the front. But another thing is that transmission. So the transmission on Big Blue, on that Ford 4000, for example, all these transmissions, the older ones are just straight up stick shifts. Okay, you push in on the clutch, the tractor comes to a complete stop, and you reselect the next gear that you want to go into. And that's how I like it for when I'm hauling stuff. It's very selective on the gears. It doesn't switch for me. It switches when I tell it to. When I'm hauling heavy and pushing the equipment to the max, that's what I want. I want to pick exactly what gear I'm in and exactly have the throttle how I want it. I don't want the vehicle telling me what gear to go in or any of that. And I personally don't want one of those newer transmissions. But okay, for example, the hydrostatic transmissions, like I've got on that little Kubota B21, very modern. The tractor is much more electric, has a great set of glow plugs, all of that stuff, all those little modern amenities. And guess what? The Kubota B21 functions phenomenally. That hydrostatic transmission has lasted a long time so far. I pray to God that it just keeps lasting. Jesus, please help these trannies keep lasting. Uh, not the evil trannies. I'm talking about the trannies in my tractor. Lord Jesus, thank you. Look, dude, what's crazy is if in 1963, if you said I got a tranny in the rear, they thought you were talking about your car. Nowadays, it's a whole different thing. All right. Let me tell you. And these trannies here, these hydrostatic trannies, they're convenient. You go up, you hit the pedal, you go forward, you hit the reverse, you go backwards. There's no fiddling around with the stick or coming to the complete stop. That's the game changer. You're really going forwards and backwards much quicker. If I had to pick, what would I have? What would y'all think? I'm going to pick the stick shift every time. But yes, I do love the convenience of the hydrostatic transmission and the forward reverse pedals. There's this huge advantage. I like to have both. That's why I do have both, for different jobs. I've got different tools, and I suggest you do the same thing with your tractors. But remember, the older tractors, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, they have less electronics. I like them more. I really like the tractors that are older. Can't say it enough. And I like stick shifts. So, number one thing, you've picked out your tractor. Say you're getting your 55 horsepower tractor. It's just going to be your general purpose tool. You've got it picked out on Facebook Marketplace. You're showing up to meet the guy. First off, always be ready for something sketchy. Don't be a fool. Don't get baited. Okay. Be ready for some dude to hit you in the head with a shovel. Okay. You're showing up to look for your first tractor. What's the number one thing you need to watch out for? All right. This is it. Number one tip when you're buying your first tractor, watch it cold start. A true cold start, that tractor ain't been started in at least a day. So that tractor ain't been started in 24 hours. It's truly cold. And because once the motor gets warmed up, it's easier to start. You want to see it in the most vulnerable position possible, which is a fresh cold start. Okay. And you want to hear how it sounds. Actually, just bring a buddy with you who knows. If you don't know, if you've never heard a tractor start up before, don't know what you're looking for, what you're listening for, bring a buddy who does. Call Mr. Tommy. Say, Mr. Tommy, hey, brother, can you help me check this tractor out? I need the yay or nay. And Mr. Tommy's going to show up, okay? He's going to steer you in the right direction. And number one thing, start it. Watch it cold start, okay? Listen to it. If you show up and he's already got the tractor running, you're getting tricked. He did a trick to start the tractor, and he's not going to tell you what the trick is. It's probably ether on a rag, But anyhow, just what you want to see the tractor cold start. I promise you, you do. Also, you can check the motor oil on it, of course. See if what it looks like, and look for metal fragments in there. Obviously, you a lot of these older tractors, especially, all you got to do is take one little nut off, and you can check the transmission fluid, see what it looks like. Because if it's milky white, it's a no go. That means it could possibly be a no go. If it's a hydrostatic transmission with milky white fluid, it's a no go. If it's an old school manual and it shifts through every single gear flawlessly, I'd still a little bit of white in the fluid you can actually drain, get new gaskets and fix. But if it's a modern transmission filled with milky white transmission fluid, you don't want it. There's water in that fluid. I didn't know that. The first tractor I got had this milky white transmission fluid. Well, it's supposed to be golden brown or golden yellow, just like, or sometimes it's solid red. Some of this transmission fluid really is just like really, really dark red. But it's supposed to be that color. None of them are milky white. Okay. um, Let's see what else. While you're running it, just because it starts up and sounds good doesn't mean it's an instant, hey, it's worth it. You got to check your lift arms on the back. Do they lift up? Your 3-point or two of them. The two of them ought to lift up. Okay, your left and your right. They ought to lift all the way up and go all the way down. Does your PTO work? Okay, the PTO is a shaft in the middle that spins. You turn it on, you see, does it work? Is there oil coming out of it when it turns on? Does it feel like when you give the throttle, give it some gas, it has more power? When you give it throttle, it ought to spin faster and harder. Okay, if so, it's probably really good working if you see that PTO shaft spinning and responding to the throttle. Um, Another thing, exhaust ought to be shooting out, billowing out. Okay, if the exhaust doesn't look like it's just billowing out of there, um, that's not good. The smoke that comes out might be black or gray or even white at first. If the white stays for a little while and dissipates, it might have had a little bit of water in there and that steam or whatever is coming out. But pay attention to the color of the smoke coming out. You want to check your loaders. If you got loaders, check them out. Make sure they're not leaking. Go through the full range of motion. Go all the way up. Curl the hay spike all the way, both ways. All the way up, all the way down. Check it out. Um, a good feature about this Ford, like the 6610 I was telling you about, Big Blue, it has a block heater on it that's internal, so you can literally go up to it with the plug, this old tractor right here, and you can plug it up and warm it internally. Okay, and if your tractor doesn't have one of those internal block heaters, there's these little magnet ones you can put on it. Um, and you can heat it up from the outside, but the internal ones are better. So when you look for a little plug hanging off of it, if it's got a plug hanging off of it, it's probably to plug up and warm internally. And that's a really great feature to have. I'm telling you, that's awesome when it's cold outside. Look at your pedals, make sure that they're not locked up. You don't want your pedals locked up, any of them, but a lot of times your old brake pedal or something's going to be locked up on an old tractor. I'm just telling you. If you have to spray any type of ether or diesel or gas into this breather to start up the tractor, it could have some compression problems. So I personally stopped using ether. I don't use ether anymore. I did on that 4000. I know it rots your seals out. It was they were done for when I got the tractor. Okay. So I used it just to get about, I don't know, another 2 months of life out of it. And once my compression was gone, I rebuilt the motor. Mr. Paul did. And he said they did what they call sleeving it, which is where they bore out these new cylinders and put these new sleeves in, and you get your compression back. And so that's what happened to my motor. And I advise, if your motor is shot, but you have a great frame of a tractor, I had to pay $5,000 for that motor to get, bored out, the new sleeves put in, and get it put back together. So I spent $6,000 on that Ford 4000, and then I put 5,000 into it, fixing up the motor. And so I know some of y'all are wondering, what does a tractor like that cost? I spent 11,000 on that, but I thought I was only going to spend 6,000 when I got it, but then the motor was totally shot because I didn't know all of this stuff. And the guy had it running when I got there. And, I didn't know. It was it was my second tractor. Okay. But anyhow, you want to see it cold start. And if your motor goes out, but you got a beautiful looking tractor, just pay the $5,000, get you a brand new motor in that tractor, and it'll be worth it. So I'm 11,000 into that 4,000, Ford 4,000, and I'm very happy with it. Okay. But try to stay away from these motors that are duds, because if I didn't have that extra 6,000 to put into that motor, I'd have been screwed. I wouldn't have had a tractor. You can get a working tractor for $5,000. I promise you. I've told y'all a little bit of what to look for when you're buying a new tractor. Um, I tell you some brands that I really prefer, the older ones, which are the older Fords, the Case Internationals, the Massey Fergusons. I love all of those old brands. There's a lot of good brands that are old that I really love. Those are the most popular in my area. Um, and of course, an old John Deere. Let's not be silly now. These old John Deeres are legendary. There's a lot of other good tractors I didn't mention. Okay, but one that I really want to avoid completely, won't fool with at all, are the Mahindras. Okay, I won't touch it with the 10-foot pole. I don't want nothing to do with the Mahindra. Okay. That's just me. I'm not touching a Mahindra. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. And the newer John Deere, I won't buy a newer John Deere either. If I was going to get a newer tractor, I promise you it would be a Kubota, a newer Kubota. That's right. I love the Japs. They are so awesome. They are, they just do everything. So they're just brilliant engineers. And I can't say enough good about these new Kubotas. And the thing about John Deere is not that they don't make a great modern tractor, is that they can, but they're, especially some of their bigger, more expensive tractors, they're just so electronic, and they're making it, they're really screwing the farmers over, is what they're doing. And that's why I just stay away from them. I would get an older John Deere though, for sure. Absolutely. Um, that's just my 2 cents. If you're starting a small farm, your biggest thing on tractors is what's your budget? I would expect to spend about $10,000 for a small farmer, even $15,000 on a tractor. And let's just be honest, if you spend $10,000 on that tractor, you're gonna have to spend $5,000 on something like the tires, a new alternator, belts, all this stuff. So, have a budget, okay, a realistic budget here, and look for all of the features that you want. My favorite feature ever on Big Blue, the 4-wheel drive factor, that I want to tell y'all about, distinguishing feature that I'm looking for on a tractor. I'm not saying it's a deal breaker, but it's a huge bonus, is if you have a 4-wheel drive lock differential. And Big Blue has a lock differential pedal. And what that does is when you're stuck, usually it's one tire spinning and the other one's not. If you could get them to both spin, you would get on out of that hole. Well, a lock differential system, that's what it does. It locks all 4 tires and they spin together no matter what. And so there's been a lot of times I'm completely buried in 4-wheel drive, but I stomp on that pedal and Big Blue pulls me out because of that lock differential system. It's tremendous. Almost all the old Fords have it. Even the 2-wheel drive ones have it, especially the 2-wheel drive, because everybody's all 4-wheel drive this and 4-wheel drive that. And I love 4-wheel drive, but you know what I like even more than that? Lock differential. You lock it down, buddy, you're probably going to get out of that hole that you're in. And that's what I love. So look for the features that you want, whether you want a loader or a backhoe. I really suggest a backhoe for digging your septic systems. Do you need your PTOs? I do, or at least I think I do. I like using them, so I want one. Know what you want and get what you need, okay? And that's what I advise. Bring Mr. Tommy with you to watch that tractor cold start and run it through a series of tests, okay? Oh my goodness, we're doing something new this week. It's called Buy or Don't Buy, and Ghost Man has pulled up here some tractors. He's going to ask me if I buy or don't buy. Oh, Ford 1710. Wow, 2-wheel drive. You can tell by the front tires it's 2-wheel drive. I like those little weights on the front. That's cool. It's probably comes with the bush hog. He's asking $4,000 for it. I think I'm gonna buy this. No, I'm just kidding. I've got a little tractor that size, and I do not need to invest in another one. Okay. Yeah, 5-foot bush hog on the back. Let's say it runs great. Okay, runs great. Yeah, I would buy it, especially if I see a cold start. That's even here. Take my money, $4,000. There you go. I've actually spent almost that much money on a tractor. I've spent more money on tractors that size. So yeah, I mean it's a good deal if it starts up and runs. I'd buy it. It's a Kubota with the backhoe and the loader. We got the 4-wheel drive. I bet that they're asking a bunch. 34,000. Nope, don't buy. Brysonomics, don't buy. Do not buy. Do not buy. Do not buy. Get out. Get out. You're too poor. Get out. Get out. You like trashier, more broke down stuff. In 5 years, I'll buy that. I'm not spending $34,000 on that little backhoe. You gonna tell me I'm gonna spend $34,000 on that little backhoe? What the hell are you gonna move? It's worth $30,000 with that little backhoe. You ain't gonna move a damn thing. I've worked in backhoes for 10 years. You're gonna dig a little septic line, and you know what? You can dig it for $11, $12, $13,000 and have 24, 25 left over. I'm just telling you, for about $12,000, you can get a good running backhoe, plenty of horsepower, 30, 40, 50 horsepower. Okay. I got one with 21. I got one with 110. I'm just telling you, I know the thing too about backhoes. That's overpriced. Both my backhoes ain't what that backhoe costs. I'm just telling you, that's a no-go. Get out of there. It is a nice Kubota though. I will say that. They're not over asking. I'm just a really uptight, cheap bastard. That's why that's not in my price range. If you do construction for a living, if you make good money, and you're not just a cage fighter who likes to, you know, uh, do his own landscaping on the side, you can't afford that. You know, if that's a business tool for you. But for me, obviously, I don't make enough money to pay off that $34,000 with that piece of equipment. My backhoes are cheaper. Great tractor though. For 8N, 9N maybe. Let's see. Yeah, 8N, 750. It ain't starting. No way. Let's see if it starts. Let me see. Has been sitting for 20 plus years. It ain't. It'd be crazy if it starts. 750? No way. They ought to give you the thing. No, it ought to be like a $200 just because maybe it looks cool or something. But no, dude, it's been sitting for 20 years. Probably ain't started. You know, that's a 1949 Ford 8N, probably gas tractor. You try to start it up. If you ain't got nothing to do, you know, go over there, try to start it up, see if they'll take, and talk them down from 750. If it starts up, still only offer them $300 if it starts, and it probably won't start, and you're probably wasting your time. I've seen a lot of these, and they don't start. But if you have Mr. Tommy and you're just really bored and can talk them down, maybe it'd be worth your time. But I try to stay away of stuff that's just total junk. You know, they take way too much fixing up for me. I have a range of where I really like, you know, that's too broke down for me. 2021 John Deere 8R310, $264,000. That's a no-go. I mean, unless if you're a very, very wealthy farmer and, you know, obviously they're turning high profits. Here's the thing, is when you start getting into those tractors, that's enough to buy more than a house. You know, you could buy with $250,000, you could buy 5 rental homes, loan 5 rental homes, 10 rental homes in a town and really make a lot of profit doing other things. There's other things you could invest in for that amount of money. That farmer who has that tractor probably makes a lot. It definitely makes a lot of money farming. Here's the thing. I can't help but to think. I see them on Facebook all the time for less money than that, but obviously they're going to be much older. There's going to be problems with them. I'll this is what I'm going to tell you personally. I promise you. That tractor, I don't know, maybe it has 200 horsepower. I'm just guessing. I wish I knew. We could look it up, but anyways, I'm just guessing 200 horsepower. You know, it's a nice big looking tractor. But for 200 horsepower, do you want to give up 10 homes? Because I can get you 200 horsepower and you can still have 9 homes. Do you understand what I'm saying? I would rather have 9 homes and a tractor that still has that amount of horsepower. And yeah, the tractor's going to be from 1975, but damn it, it's going to start. And me and Mr. Tommy can run it. And that's how I like to farm. I'm going to guarantee you I never spend $250,000 on a couple hundred horsepower. I guarantee you I won't. And I know it's got the cab that's heated and cooled. You won't sweat in the summer. You won't freeze your ass off in the winter. But I don't care where I'm at in my life. I'd rather keep that $250,000 and invest it into something that could make me a little bit money in a different way. I'm not paying John Deere $250,000 for that tractor. I'm not. I'm going to Facebook Marketplace and buying one, you know, for $25,000. I see them all the time, especially the bigger Case Internationals. There's a bunch of old big tractors, Caterpillars and stuff. You can find them on Facebook Marketplace. Don't buy that one. It's a longer Ford. It's a 4630. So that's a little bit more modern, but it's going to have the same horsepower as that 4,000. It's like that 4,000 I was telling y'all about, but it's got the loader on it. 14,000. A little steep there. I'm telling you, you can get them cheaper than that. But let's look at these details real quick. Like, everything works as should. Reason for selling is just don't need it. They're also open to trades. Well, if you have something to trade, you could offer it to trade. But let's just say you can't do no bartering. Okay, so you got to buy it. They're asking 14,000. They're asking just a little bit much for that horsepower, because this is in Arkansas, guys. I mean, I know that you don't have these luxuries in California. In Arkansas, this is our price range. Okay, this is what they cost, and you can actually get them a little bit cheaper than that. Now, that is exceptionally well took care of. It's got the loader on the front. That tractor's great on fuel for a small farmer. If you don't need four-wheel drive, that is what you want. And what I'll say about this is, yes, you're not a fool to go over there and pay $14,000. That might be worth it, and that tractor could pay itself off tenfold easily if it works perfectly. You might be able to get one for about $10,000. Seriously, that has all those same features. But I don't know. That tractor looks like it ain't even leaking. I mean, it looks like it's a good running tractor. They say it is, so they seem confident. Go over there, start it up, see if it leaks at all. And if you want to, you can spend that 14,000. Like I said, I've seen them cheaper. That's not the best deal ever, but if it works, that's a good tractor for a fair deal. I'll say that. I would buy that tractor if I needed it. Right now, I don't need that one. For example, I got my Ford with more horsepower for 12,000. Big Blue. It has double the horsepower of that, and I paid 12 for it, 12.5. But it's also older, had some problems with it, had some problems. I had to do a little bit of fixing on it, but that's not a particularly great deal, but it's great enough for me to consider, especially if I need it. Old Massey Ferguson, 2615. It's got the bush hog with it. Oh, big bush hog on it. It's Massey. It's hard to tell how big it is from the picture. Massey might be huge. I need to look up how much horsepower this one's got. It's a 1982. Oh, the 2615. That's the bush hog model. Okay, it's a 285 Massey Ferguson. Don't know how much horsepower it is, but that bush hog, I mean, that might be a pretty big tractor there. Yeah, 82 horsepower. Okay, now we're talking. So yeah, 82 horsepower, very nice bush hog. That's the bush hog you want. So already we're off to a great start. We got the Massey Ferguson classic look 2-wheel drive system. Big old bat wing bush hog on the back. Ooh, I'm liking it. What are they asking? 13.5. Now, do you see what I was talking about earlier? How they were asking 12.5 for that tractor with about 55 horse. Here we got an 82 horse tractor with the bush hog. I'm telling you, that bush hog, if it comes with it, that bush hog is worth like $9,000. So if it works perfectly and both sides fold up and the good blades and all that, I think that's an old bat wing on the back. But anyways, it can't be 13.5 with the bat wing. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna go buy this tractor. I'll be right back. All right, guys. So last week we talked about why I believe that the earth is flat, and I hope that y'all loved it because I sure do. I feel like a nerd talking about all that stuff, but I don't care. I am a nerd. And let me tell you something. The reason that you need to know that the earth is flat is there's two big reasons I want to tell you today. And as crazy as it might sound, okay, these reasons are important to you. Okay, so please listen up here just for a second. Number one, you need to understand the earth is flat is because the government is going to do a fake alien invasion. And I know I sound batshit crazy, like I got hit in the head too many times. And I have, okay? And I am. But I'm still telling the truth. Our government has these weapons that are serious of mass destruction, like lasers, microwaves. They have hologram projectors that can make it look like there's UFOs in the air. I'm just telling you, our government has things that is really hard for our brains to even comprehend, because we haven't seen all of this stuff used. Most people haven't, but I know that lasers exist and microwaves exist. They could fry your ass just by clicking a button. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Our government could literally fry you, dude. These lasers are so scary. They'll just cut right through steel like it's nothing, bro. So what I'm telling you is, when lasers are coming down, people are getting microwaved, there's hologram projections of spacecraft in the air. Don't for a second believe aliens are coming. No, we got to trust our government. Government's going to help us organize and fight the aliens. I'm telling you, the lasers in the sky are coming from your own government. They're going to project on holograms alien spacecraft. Okay. No aliens can get by the firmament. And honestly, I don't believe that there's aliens in the firmament with us. I believe that there are giants on the planet. There have been giants forever, almost forever. They were invented or were born very early in human creation. That's in Genesis, by the way. So I believe in giants. I believe in reptilians. Y'all know that. But I don't necessarily believe in aliens. I also believe in angels and demons. Okay. So if somebody was to say, hey, I've seen an alien, like I do believe that you've seen something. I'm not calling you a liar. Trust me. I believe you. Okay. But what I'm saying is, just because you think you saw an alien from another planet, I'm telling you, I don't believe in other planets. I believe what the Bible teaches is that there's one Earth and it's the only planet, and that we're stuck inside of a firmament. And so if you see lasers coming down from the sky in the next 5 or 10 years, just remember, that's your own government. It is not aliens. I just wanted y'all to know that, okay? I think that our government's going to attack us and say aliens did it. When we were created, everything's laid out in Genesis there. It says that humans were made in the image of God. There's no such thing as an alien who is more divine than human creation is, that's more significant than human creation. We are made, the only creature made in the image of God is humans. I'm just telling you, there's not an alien out there. And if you read Genesis, there's not other planets created for them to live. There's not a place for these aliens to live. There's nothing else intelligent but humans on this planet, and probably some reptilians and some giants that are also mentioned in the Bible. They are mentioned in the Bible. Dragons are mentioned in the Bible, by the way. Fun fact of the day. But so I'm not just saying that we're the only intelligent life form, but humans in Genesis are given domain over every other life form. That's very important. We have domain over giants. We have domain over aliens, cattle, anything. Okay, so humans are made in the image of God and have domain over every other creature on this earth. Okay, not in heaven, not in hell, but on earth. They've been conditioning us to believe that aliens exist through movies. Every other movie you see is about aliens. Every other kid's book or kid's piece of clothing, like pajamas and stuff, have aliens on them. They're trying to push aliens everywhere to make you scared of these aliens. You should be scared of the government. All these people that are trying to push aliens on you. Oh, be scared of the aliens. The aliens are real. The aliens are coming. It's all just nonsense. And most of them are malicious if they're in high levels, high positions of power. The people, however, that say that they've seen aliens and have been chasing aliens and study aliens and stuff, I don't believe that they're malicious. I think that they really do believe in aliens. But I don't think the aliens are what they think they are. I think that we're up against angels and demons, probably some lizard people, and some evil Nephilim giants. Okay, if you don't know what Nephilim is, just look it up. It's hard to explain all of this stuff in one day. Okay, look up Nephilim from Genesis. They're evil too. Okay, and they're out there to this day. Okay, watch yourself. Another thing with flat Earth. Okay, that people don't understand why it's so important. Bryce, why do you care about so much all this flat Earth stuff? Reason number 2, let me tell you, because on the flat Earth that I believe in, the government is hiding free electricity. The real estate company that owns all of the houses in North America, basically, they're named after the real Black Rock. The real Black Rock is at True North, and what I believe it is basically some type of iron mountain, basically, that's purely magnetic and emanates free, constant electricity, always has and always will. And God put it there to give everybody on earth free electricity. I believe that elites are hiding the true North Pole. That's why you can't visit it without permits and blah, blah, blah. No fly zones, all that. We have restricted access. We're not allowed to go to the North Pole. We're not allowed to go to the South Pole. Now, South Pole doesn't exist, but the North Pole, they're hiding the most valuable resource on the whole planet, which is free, infinite electricity. What do you mean by infinite? I mean, it has so much power you can't even fathom it. Okay. And that's what gives all the lightning in the atmosphere power. That's what gives uh, all this electric current in the atmosphere. It's coming from the North Pole with the black rock. And what it is, the black rock, first off, let me tell you how we prove that it's there. Okay. How something is going on. Take your compass, watch it point north, hold it level. Watch it point north. Why is that compass needle pointing north? Okay, because the red tip of the needle there is magnetized. And on the smooth surface of a compass, when laid level, flat, there's so little friction that the magnetized needle can be pulled north consistently. Now, check this out. Not only can one compass needle be pulled north, every single compass needle right now is pointing north at the same time in the whole world. Everybody's compass, no matter where you have a compass, if you have a compass in Japan, China, Africa, Europe, America, Asia, Mexico, Canada, doesn't matter. Everybody's needles on their compasses are pointing north. That means that that means that magnetism in the air is being turned into kinetic energy. And I'm telling you, if we could harness that kinetic energy, we could power the entire world infinitely. Now, science, modern science, which is all a lie. By the way, I do believe in a lot of science, just not all of it. Okay. The stuff that you can't prove, I don't believe in it. Modern science is going to lie to you and tell you that that magnetism is just emanating from the North Pole, a random spot in the ground, and there's nothing special about it. You can just walk to the North Pole and you won't see nothing. You just walk right by it. You'll never sense it, never know it's there. I'm telling you, that's a lie. There's a huge rock there, the black rock, the largest rock ever made. Here's a map of it. This was mapped out by a German explorer. This is in the 1500s. Mercator, a German explorer, literally sailed all across the Arctic Circle. And what he discovered was the black rock. And I believe Mercator. I don't care what NASA says. I don't care what the McGraw-Hill textbooks say. I believe in Mercator, the German explorer in the 1500s. He drew a picture of the black rock. Okay. And he basically believed too that that rock emitted electricity for free. And basically what you can do is tap into that electricity and power everything. And I believe that advanced civilizations have done that. Like back in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve would have had access to that free electricity. You know, now it's been controlled and monopolized, and only the elites can access it. And they make fun of us with things like the name BlackRock as their real estate company. Of course, that real estate company is the biggest energy harvester of all, so to say, you know. What was interesting about that, this also is extremely biblical. Ghostman, could you pull that picture up one more time of BlackRock? Because some of y'all are going to be thinking, what the hell is this? I've never seen this in my life. These are what the Bible talks about that you ain't been reading, that you ain't been discerned, you ain't been caring about. And some of y'all will when you see this, okay, if you ain't seen it before. This is called the four corners of the earth. And this is what I believe in because the Bible teaches it. The Bible says there are four corners to the earth at least 3 times. And the reason that it says that is because I believe that there are a true 4 corners to the earth. And in the center of that is the black rock that I believe is 3 times higher than Mount Everest. It's purported to be basically in the 75,000 to 85,000 foot tall range. I mean, 3 times bigger than Mount Everest. That's how big the people that are saying they've seen this rock, that's how big they're saying it is. 75, 85,000 feet tall. Yep. To get to it, you have to go through the north, south, east, or west little channels there, 1 of 4. Now, what's interesting about this design, and there's, Europe, Russia, North America, like Canada or whatever, Greenland, Iceland, that's a map of everything in that Arctic Circle, and there's the four corners of the earth that I believe they're hiding. I believe that's why you can't fly over the North Pole, because they don't want you to see the black rock or the four corners of the earth that the Bible literally talks about. I believe in the four corners of the earth. If you don't, then I guess you just think the Bible is poetic. I don't. I think it's literal, and it does use a lot of poetry, but not here. It's talking about the four corners. What's interesting about the four corners of the earth is that if you're God looking down on this earth, you would see a cross. I'm just telling you, that makes sense to me that God looks down and sees the cross. I mean, it is ironic, ain't it? Remember when God had the Ark of the Covenant displayed by the Israelites, and he put it in the center of Israel, and he had the 12 tribes make a cross so that when God viewed the Ark of the Covenant, he saw his 12 tribes all lined up in a cross around. This is in Numbers 2 when God configures Israelites into a cross formation. He also died on a cross. He is very fond of the cross shape, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if the four corners of the earth are true as reported in the Bible, and the black rock is in the center, emitting free electricity. All we'd have to do is create a something to convert that electricity into kinetic energy, and we could easily convert it. There's technology out there to do it. Apparently, back in the day, they were using things like mercury, which is a highly reactive metal to electricity. Okay. So they were using mercury and copper and brass and all these different metals to harness that electricity. I'll get into that one of these days. I'm going to tell you all about some technology that I think has been lost. Okay. Speaking of all this electricity that's floating in the air that's free, I think Nikola Tesla knew about it, and I think that they set him up and killed him. Nikola Tesla, he was the greatest inventor that has ever been in recorded history, that's ever been known, and there's not a close number two. Elon Musk, Tesla would beat the ever-living shit out of him. He is just a coward, Elon Musk is. But Nikola Tesla was a real man of God. He really worshiped God, really loved God, and he really discovered the secrets God had left in the universe and infused with the laws of physics. I mean, he seriously loved electricity, and Nikola Tesla knew more than anybody to this day about electricity. I'm just telling you what Nikola Tesla did in his time. Basically, imagine if your phone started charging and it wasn't plugged in, and a light bulb, you could hold it in your hand and he could turn it on without wiring it up. That's what that's the type of stuff Nikola Tesla was doing with electricity. He was basically creating it through this little device that he had, but he had found out a way to, without wires, transmit electricity like radio waves. So basically, he could light up a light bulb if you held it in your hand. He could charge your phone without plugging it in. He had made electricity able to travel just like a radio wave. You turn on the radio and boom, you get your favorite station. You can switch stations. He was doing that with electricity. He could power your home for free. And that's why they killed him. Okay. So there is free electricity. There are means, methods, and ways to do this stuff. It's not out of our capability. It's just so many people are like, they don't care about this stuff. Nikola Tesla cared about electricity. He studied it, devoted his life to it, and he accomplished things that we cannot repeat to this day. Okay, and I'm telling you, there is lost secrets right over our head. There's free electricity. Actually, apparently, if you go a little bit higher, like 200 feet up in the air, that's where the electricity is the strongest as it floats in the air. But even ground level, you can still turn a compass. Apparently, if you go higher, like 200 feet up, you can do more than turn a compass. You can really turn some mercury. Yeah, that sounds crazy, but that's what I think that people were doing back in the day. I think that people were using mercury and copper and brass and all these metals to harvest and conduct this electricity. I'll tell you about all that later, though. I just wanted you to know that there is free electricity. We could harness it, and that aliens ain't real. This week was amazing. We had so much stuff. We went from farming to aliens, and Nikola Tesla. I mean, you get a lot of stuff in this show, okay? You can't get this stuff nowhere else, and I can't get y'all's feedback nowhere else either. So just as much as you love the show, I love your feedback even more. Give it to me. Come on, y'all. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and share and subscribe. Thank you so much. God bless you all. I love you. And I'll see you next week. Bam!